Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined by John Romano here on this December 26, 2016 post-Christmas show. Actually, the last show of 2016. John, how's it going over there?
Pretty good. I managed to stay away from the mall today, which was a great accomplishment.
That's the most scary thing to ever do, go to the mall the day after Christmas.
Oh, God. It's one of those things where I'd say, okay, dentist to drill my tooth with no Novocaine or go to the mall on December 26th. Let's see. Can you do two teeth at the same time with no Novocaine? I'll take that.
You know what the funny thing is? The women who and the people who go back to return the gifts are not even as bad as the nutty, insane kids that need to get that toy that they thought they were going to get, that they got the wrong color or the wrong this or the wrong voiceover or the wrong version.
It's all wrong. Thank God now a lot of people, myself included, do all their Christmas shopping online. And it drastically reduces the amount of, mall traffic. But, the Publix supermarket, where you not probably shop now too, Publix, is in the shopping center with like a bunch of department stores and other smaller stores. Bro, you took your life in your hands going in there the 3 days before Christmas, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I go to the supermarket just to get food. It was like old ladies and minivans full of people, moms and kids, and just beating each other up for parking spots and shopping carts and it was just insanity. I was like, what triggers the psychological shift to go from normal person to insane maniac when, the holidays are here? It's just, people complain about roid rage. How about freaking Christmas rage?
Yeah,
that's 100 times worse.
You're right. Well, people go there at the last minute to get gifts that they didn't buy yet. But the truth is, you're right. A lot of people go to the supermarket that day before Christmas Eve, because they think that nothing's going to be open on Christmas. And God forbid the stuffed refrigerator they have at home is not going to have enough food to last them one more day,
Right.
The funny thing is, and I don't know if this is different in South Carolina where you are. In Florida, it's way different than New York, because in New York, everything closes on Christmas. Like, everything's always open in New York, but on Christmas Day, everything's closed except the Chinese restaurants. Now,
right. You can always get Chinese.
Yeah. Now, in Florida, that's not the case. And my theory is that I think what happens is that there's a lot of people vacationing down here, like the snowbirds are down here now, so they need to have places to feed these people. Because we went to Golden Corral. Amanda, myself, and her mom and Logan. We went to Golden. It was so. We got there early because I figured we'll get like a lunch. We were there at like 12:30. By the time we left at about 1:30, 1:45, there was a line out the door, John. People were, like you said, killing each other. You would think that they were giving away free food in there, how many people were on that line.
Wow, it's insane. Well, the snowbirds, and a lot of them are Jewish, and they don't celebrate Christmas.
And old people don't really cook on this, so they go out to eat on Christmas Day. It totally blew my mind. Everything was open everywhere I went.
If you're old and Jewish, it's a lock you're going out to dinner.
Yeah.
No two ways about it. So, and you concentrate them in Florida, and you got to go somewhere.
There's a lot less Jewish people on the West Coast, however, than on the.
This is true. They're mostly on the East Coast. Yeah. So,
John, do you know they have a house in Florida? My mother lives there. We go out and visit her.
Is she still alive?
I don't know. Is the mother alive?
Jean? Is Jean still alive?
I'm sure they stand to inherit a lot of money when the mother dies, right?
Oh God, the rest of it. So she was. Wow, maybe
that's the resurgence he's waiting for.
Maybe it's what he's waiting for, because she was in her 80s, early 80s when we left.
That was a while.
So she's got to be, pushing 90 now, right, if she's alive.
Yeah.
I don't know. God, you know what?
I'll pay you when my mother-in-law dies, or my mother dies.
Well, she was a really nice. The parents.
I heard the parents were amazing. Yeah, I heard the father was.
They
awesome.
were. David Blackman, the father, he was such an incredible guy. Just brilliant, first of all, and hard worker, great work ethic. very pragmatic and practical and common sense, and you would have loved him. He was your kind of guy.
Yeah.
Manly, burly, rough. How he ended up with the sons he ended up with is beyond me. But really, really, and Jean, the mom, was just great. I mean, she just was a wonderful, wonderful woman. She always treated me very well. Right. I don't have nothing but great things to say about them. They were a really, really good couple, and they just gave birth to an extremely dysfunctional band of lunatics.
And on that note, let's talk about the show. No, nothing's going on in the bodybuilding world, which makes this great, because it makes it us basically have carte blanche on what we want to talk about today. But we're going to basically talk about some of the best of categories of the year. Right. We're not going to get to that yet, but there's been a lot of deaths this year. I don't know if you.
Yes.
In Hollywood, it's crazy. I mean, George Michael just died on, I guess, Christmas Day. Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, almost died.
Whoa! Yeah, George Michael died yesterday.
Yes, he did. 53 years old.
What, of AIDS?
No one knows. No one's saying.
No kidding.
I think it might have been a suicide. Not that I know. The funny thing is, when I was first married to my first wife, Barbara, she used to always have this crush on George Michael. I said, he's gay. She's like, no, he's not. And then he came out gay, of course, in '98. Oh, yeah. And wow. It was all down.
We had him, Prince, Robin Williams. There's a list of my old.
Did Robin Williams win this? I don't think he died this year, did he?
Robin Williams wasn't it this year he committed suicide?
I think so.
Or last year.
I
thought it was this year.
Nancy Reagan died this year.
Yep. Yeah. Well, she was like 110.
Yeah. Harper Lee, the one who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, she died.
Yep.
Pat Conroy, who penned The Great Santini. And the Prince of Tides passed away also.
No kidding. Wow, they're all going.
And Fish died too, Abe Vigoda.
Yeah, Abe Vigoda. He did. He made famous first in his appearance in The Godfather.
That's right. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yep.
Sully. Was that what was his
name? Sully. Yeah, it was Sully.
Was it Sully?
Yep, Sully.
Can you get me a pass? Remember when they were going to whack him?
Yeah, can you get me right?
Can you get me a pass, Michael? It's like, sorry,
for old time's sake.
Yeah, for old time's sake. Fidel Castro died.
Yep.
Muhammad Ali.
Thank Muhammad Ali. Yeah. The most devastating one for me was Prince.
Yeah. A lot of musicians died this year.
Yeah, Prince was. What a talent that guy was! Oh my God! You just go to YouTube and just get YouTube some of his guitar solos. Just incredible.
Yeah, he was pretty
amazing. Amazing talent.
Arnold Palmer died. Golf legend.
John Glenn, the first man in orbit, just died.
Gordie Howe.
Who?
Gordie Howe, the hockey player. 801 goals he had scored.
Wow.
China.
There's a list somewhere. Doesn't Time or People magazine make a list? The departed, or they call that, or
I don't know. I wrote down a bunch of names I saw someplace. China died. Joni Laura from.
Yeah, well, she died a couple of years ago.
No, she died this year.
She did?
People think she might have. She looked like she died a few years ago, but she died this year. Yeah.
That was this year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
Eli Wiesel died. You know who he is?
No.
He's one of those Holocaust survivors. He survived Auschwitz, and he went on to become a world-renowned writer, professor, activist. He won the Nobel Prize.
Wow.
I thought he was like one of those guys who was tracking down the Nazis. That was still also.
It could have been. There's been a few of those.
Yeah. Gary Marshall died from Happy, creator of Happy Days.
Happy Days. Wow.
Morley Safer died. 60 Minutes. Blackman was supposed to sign him, and then he freaking croaked the guy.
What was Blackman going to sign him for?
I'm going to sign him to be the new editor-in-chief because I owe Peter McGuff too much money.
I wonder how much he owes McGuff.
Probably a ton of. He owes him at least a year's salary, I bet it.
I think the greatest mystery is going to be how in the world he convinces these people to keep working.
Who knows? He's obviously a better businessman than we are because he can keep these people working for nothing.
Yeah. I'm changing it to a non-profit. Everybody's got to volunteer.
Gene Wilder died. I love Gene Wilder.
Wow,
Blazing Saddles.
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah.
Yep. Now he was married to Gilda Radner from Saturday Night Live, one of the original primetime players. She died of cancer.
Yeah, in her 40s. So
or young.
Kind of killed him. I know that was a very hard loss for him because I remember.
Yeah, it was. I don't think he was the same after that.
Florence Henderson, Mrs. Brady, died from the Brady Bunch. Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Zsa Zsa Gabor, 99 years old. Her, She was married 9 times, beat out Elizabeth Taylor's record.
She was like the what's her name? Diana Cadot of like the celebrity world. You know?
Do you ever watch Green Acres?
Yeah, she was good looking back then.
But the character was so impeccable is the best word I could come out with it. It was such a dichotomy that there's this New York socialite from Fifth Avenue now living in mud in the farm in Hooterville or whatever the hell the name of that place was. I always got a kick out of that. Now, didn't she have a twin sister? Wasn't there Ava Gabor and Zsa Zsa Gabor?
Yeah. I don't know if they were twins, but they definitely were sisters.
Yeah. But I guess she outlived them all.
Yeah, she did. She had a good life.
Some of these people are living like incredibly long. She was 99. Nancy Reagan was 90-something.
Jim Delegati was 98. Do you know who he is?
No.
I bet you've eaten something that he's created.
I'll bet I have.
The Big Mac. He named the Big Mac. He did? He was a McDonald's franchise owner, and he, I guess, was around from the beginning if he's 98 years old, and he came up with that name, the Big Mac. Yep.
Wow. God, well, he made a gazillion billion dollars.
Yeah.
So, John Glenn was 95. I mean, a lot of these people are kicking it really old. I mean, that gives you this, but unfortunately, some of them very young, too.
Yeah. All the talented ones seem to be, all the, creative people seem to drop dead really young.
Yeah, you know what? I got a theory about that. I think, you look at Michael Jackson, Prince, George Michael, Robin Williams, you go all the way back to, Jimi Hendrix and Mama Cass and just all of the genius musicians and actors that died young. I just think what happens is they just burn out. They're so talented and so what else? What more could Michael Jackson have done?
Right.
They get to a point, I think, creatively where they're just grasping it. What are you going to do? How much more? What else is there?
Well, unfortunately, John, I see this with bodybuilding too. You see these bodybuilders that after they stop competing, they just kind of fizzle out and die away. Look at the Nasser El Somebodies and the Greg Kovacs, and I don't believe that the body deteriorates and falls apart on its own. I believe that our minds cause that to happen. I think that they just didn't have anything to live for. That was their passion. They did it as much as they could, and then they were done. It was like their journey was over.
But I also think that some of them suffered just tremendous disappointment that they couldn't. Like, I know Nasser, I knew him pretty well, and I know that failure to become Mr. Olympia for him was so crushing. That he got that close and ostensibly, in many people's minds, should have won at least once.
Yeah, but you know what? He was he could have been so popular. He was an intelligent guy. He could have written. He could have had his own website. He would have had the best YouTube channel of all time. Of all time, because he could talk forever.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think it robs them of their will to continue. I mean, look at Kovacs. 400 pounds. I mean, he could have done incredible on social media.
Yeah. He would have been fantastic. When I'd have him on the radio show, it was always top ratings.
Yeah, of course. So you've got I just think they get to a point where it's just either the disappointment is overwhelming and the road ahead is so barren of new ideas and it exceeds their ability to creatively contrive some kind of niche for themselves where they could thrive. Well, and they just can't do it, and they end up feeling like they're living in a sinking bubble, and they end it.
Well, you know what it is? You get what you think about, whether you want it or not. I always say that. And when you think about all the great things you want to do, you accomplish a lot. When you have nothing creative happening, all you think about is how terrible your life is. What happens? You die. That's it.
Right.
You get what you think about. So don't think terrible things. You got to always recreate yourself. That you and I are probably the best at doing that. We always seem to find a new thing that we're going to do. And that you got to do that, because if you don't, you die. And if you want to die, think about dying. And believe me, it'll happen. My grandmother, may she rest in peace, she nursed everyone on her side of the family had cancer and died. She was healthy as a horse. She just got so depressed after everyone passed away that she gave herself cancer.
Yeah.
But it's true. So guys, control your thoughts. Your thoughts become your reality. And it sounds trite, and it sounds like a little too tutti frutti, but you know what? It's true. And you gotta find passions that you have, and constantly find new hobbies and reinvent yourself. And don't just throw all your eggs in one basket and then be super depressed when something doesn't work out. You gotta have alternatives. I'm telling you.
And even if you don't, at least continue to do what you do with a passion and I mean, look at Jim Lorimer. He just turned 90. The promoter of the Arnold Classic. That guy's still kicking. And
he goes to the office every day.
Yeah, he goes to the office every day and works. He said in his speech, he said, my Lucy, my secretary, says, why don't you go home and rest? And then he goes home, and the wife says, why don't you go to the office and get some work done? He doesn't know where to go.
Right. It's funny. So I got to do an update, though, John, before we talk about the best of categories for the show. I got to do an update on the Scandinavian countries. We did that Iron Rage, and a lot of people reached out to me. I don't know if you got people reaching out to me.
I got a lot. Yeah, I did.
People were like, you guys, thank you for pointing that out, because we are living with this. And, I had said on the show, because someone had emailed me about a previous mention I mentioned about it, because I had said originally all the Scandinavian countries were having this bodybuilding profiling, the muscle profiling, where if they think if you look like you're taking any kind of performance enhancing substance, they could arrest you and drug test you. And if you fail, they could fine you, put you in jail, take your driver's license, and so I had mentioned this was happening in all the Scandinavian countries, and someone's emailing and said it's only Sweden, and I had mentioned that on our Enrage show we did on our YouTube channel, and a ton of people reached out to me and said that's not the case. It's everywhere now. So I'm going to read some of the emails I got. I'm not going to say who they are because I don't want to out these people. This one's you'll like this one. We should sick you on this guy. Here's a update from Sweden. I just wanted to tell you this crazy thing about the police and steroids in Sweden. I live in Sundsvall, where Tony Freeman was arrested. As all listeners out there know, Tony Freeman had gone there to do an appearance in Sweden, and they arrested him at the appearance on citing him on suspicion of taking anabolic steroids, and they tested him, and who knows? I think he passed, actually. Anyway, the police officer in charge of that investigation was Henrik Blusi. He did the same thing to a Swedish bodybuilder called Roddy Benjaminson, who was coming there to do a seminar. And this guy actually called Blusi ahead of time and told him he wanted to come by the police station and show him the week-old drug test that he passed from WADA. Because I guess this guy is in the Swedish version of American Gladiators, and they drug test these guys.
Right.
And Blusi agreed, so he came by the when he came by the station house when he arrived in Sweden. And when he got there, he was informed that he was suspected of using anabolic steroids. And they had him take another drug test and called the local newspapers to get the story out. Quote, "WADA rules don't apply in Sundsvall," was what Blusi was quoted as saying. Well, the test results came back negative, and most of the bodybuilding community in Sundsvall signed a petition for Blusi to resign. And he actually had to leave the police force for some years. The guy writing the letter, I began working at a bodybuilding gym, and after about a year, Blusi was back on the force and immediately stormed that gym with a whole crew of police officers. The biggest guys in there had to undress in the middle of the gym so that the police could check them for testosterone-related pimples. So, yeah, that's the state of bodybuilding in Sweden.
Testosterone-related pimples. Now, my first question to the investigator would be, please tell me the difference between testosterone-related pimples and regular pimples.
John, I joined the Swedish police force. I'm going to disrobe young boys and check them for testosterone-related pimples.
How sick is that?
That's pretty sick, right?
That's pretty bad.
Then I got this other email from this guy from Norway. I just heard you on this video, and then he sent me a link to a video that shows what's going on in Norway. I just want to tell you that it's pretty bad in Norway as well. I have several friends that have had their houses raided by police with search warrants due to them having suspecting images on Instagram like they were too big or lean to be natural. I've also had friends that have been followed by civil police cars, and they asked to search their car and if they could have a look inside their house. But they denied them both since they didn't have warrants. I also know of people that have been close to losing their driver's license due to them being caught with steroids and personal use. One story I heard was that the Children Protection Services was brought in because the father was using anabolic steroids, and I don't think the case got carried out. Wow. They are seriously destroying people's lives. Thanks for contributing to the bodybuilding fans. Have a nice day and Merry Christmas.
You know, the interesting thing is that the news pretty much worldwide has been pretty devoid of any catastrophic occurrences that they've been pinning on steroids. There's no suicides, no mass murders, no murder-suicides, no instances of rage and uncontrollable behavior. There's no parents groups up in arms because the kids are taking shit. There's no, rogue investigators weeding through the trash looking for... It just seems to have quieted down because, other than the fact that we have radical Islamic terrorists running around in all these countries, we also have, heroin use is enjoying a rise that's unprecedented since the 60s because, everybody got hooked on OxyContin and they can't find it anymore. But, heroin is much easier to get.
Way easier, yeah.
So, and they're now they got these guys are drinking lean, the cough syrup mixed with soda and candy.
What's in that?
Cough syrup, some kind of what's the truth? Codeine cough syrup.
Okay.
And they mix it with Sprite and some other kind of mango strawberry crush or whatever they find at the 7-Elevens in the hood, and they make this mixture of all of these these things and they drink that stuff and oddly it cools everybody out. So we're in events where normally they'd be drinking alcohol and now instead they're drinking lean. There's no fights. Everybody's getting along. It's all good, but now the cops are chasing cough syrup. So between heroin, cough syrup, terrorists, and bath salts, I think steroids have I knock on wood, I hope I'm right. Steroids seem to have kind of worked their way down the pecking order of importance as far as law enforcement goes, and we haven't really heard in
this country.
In this country, yes, in this country. But I mean, worldwide, there's really no. That was the point. That was my point. This profiling and a hysteria over, big guys kind of flies in the face of the fact that, history and anecdotal reality is proving that this is an innocuous thing. Nobody's. There doesn't really seem to be a public health concern over this stuff anymore. Certainly kids aren't, getting roped into this. We haven't really heard any news, and you and I are, privy to this, pretty much more than most people. And I don't know about you, but I really haven't heard anything.
No, but that's not a good sign because usually when it gets too quiet, it means that they're planning to raid someone's house.
No, I mean the cops. I'm talking about reports of incidences. Incident reports.
Oh yeah. Well,
they just seem to be very low.
Yeah, but that it runs in cycles. That they're not, because once the press is on a mass hysteria about steroids, where people report more stuff.
Right. Too. Yeah, it's sort of like a chain reaction, self-fulfilling prophecy,
right.
Chain reaction kind of thing. Yeah. But I just thank God I haven't heard. Any kids getting roped into anything. The football teams aren't, up in arms over, what things going on. I just find that overall, and this is worldwide, I find that overall there really isn't any public outcry to satisfy the kind of infringement that's going on in the Netherlands, in
the Scandinavian countries.
I mean, the Scandinavian countries. the Scandinavian countries, it just doesn't seem warranted, and I don't understand why they've got such a hard-on for these guys.
I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from. It's so. Look, even if the country wants to clean up anabolic steroids, you don't profile people and just pull them off the street. I mean, that's really, really terrible. I mean, think about it. I mean, that's how Nazi Germany started.
Sure.
That's what Jews. If you look Jewish, they put a pin on you, and you got to wear this pin first.
Well, that's what happens when you have a country that's doesn't have a constitution.
Yeah.
So
they don't have a constitution. Those countries.
No, those countries don't have a constitution.
I didn't know that. I'm sure we'll get.
Not a constitution like ours that guarantees us, certain inalienable rights.
Well, it doesn't give you the rights to use illegal drugs. I mean, if our country wanted to start doing that, they could probably get away with it too. I mean, it's not right, but they could do it, couldn't they?
No, you'd never get away with that.
Why?
in America. Because our rights are guaranteed. You can't do that.
No.
It's still law. You can't usurp the Constitution. There's no provision in the Constitution.
They just set you up. That's all.
Well, yeah, they can set you up. They can do anything they want as far as action.
You know what? We don't have time in this country. You'd think that they would have more problems in Scandinavia than finding bodybuilders that look a little too big in the gym. You'd think that they would have. There's got to be more problems there that they have to take care of before those.
Well, there is, and terrorism is part of it. Now you're starting to see this, in Germany and France and Belgium.
Yeah, they're deflecting.
Huh?
They're trying to deflect from the real incidents.
Right, exactly.
Rather than arresting the terrorists, why don't they? How come they don't racially profile the terrorists over there? They're like, the terrorists got rights, but the bodybuilders, people who work out, have no rights.
But that is a tremendously important and good point. What is it about a religion that has a radical, a dangerous, radical interpretation, a radical component that has declared jihad against everybody who's a non-believer? Why can't they profile them? How come every guy wearing a beard and a turban isn't getting hauled in and questioned and tested and everything? But bodybuilders are. What public menace do bodybuilders represent?
Nothing.
Because what? They want to be big? I mean, that's their crime. They want to be big and win bodybuilding shows. Whereas these guys want to kill everybody, but you can't profile them because that's effacing their religion.
The point that you're making is so honest and so right that I can't even say anything. All I can say is that people have this thing about they're afraid to go anywhere near religion, and that's how these terrorists get away with it. They hide behind the religion because you know what? If you're look, I know a lot of people who are Muslim, and they are very peaceful, loving people. A lot of people in our community, bodybuilding community, are Muslim, and they're truly loving people. But these terrorists hide behind the religion so that they can camouflage themselves and so they're not profiled, so they can say, we have rights. And that's where the despicableness of this all comes in, and they make the religion bad because of that. They give it a bad name, and so people think all Muslims are terrorists, which obviously that's not the case.
Well, no, but unfortunately, the literal interpretation of the Quran, there's several pillars of the Quran that basically describes, killing the infidels, and those are the people that don't, the non-believers. Yeah. So, there's 52 countries that are Muslim countries. I'm using rough numbers. I'm not exactly sure of the statistics, but I'm close. But it's something like 52 countries, are Muslim, that account for the 1.8 billion Muslims in the world, and of them, about 800 million have been radicalized. They believe in Sharia law and have been radicalized. Well, that's not so good. That's a tremendous number. Now you've got these Syrian refugees pouring across the borders of Germany, France, Belgium, all through Eastern Europe.
Right.
Western Europe. Because they have open borders, so now you look at these terror attacks. They're starting to happen with increasing frequency by these guys who were originally refugees.
Right.
So but you can't profile them. That's against the law.
Well, you know what? We should send all the terrorists over to Sweden, Denmark, and Norway because they obviously have no problem profiling people over there.
They have them there. They won't That's the whole point. They won't profile them.
They won't. I didn't know that. Okay.
No, they won't. They will not. No country will profile a Muslim. Will not happen.
Well, maybe Donald Trump will do it.
I sure hope so. You know, it's a terrible thing to say, and I'm going to that one statement there is going to label me once again a racist and a bigot, but I don't care. You know, because look, you go like this: if you know that if you eat oatmeal, it's going to kill you, and then someone serves you oatmeal, what do you think their intention is?
Right. No, you're right.
They're going to kill you. They want to kill you.
Right.
So if you're going to say, okay, no more oatmeal. Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
The problem is that there's degrees of oatmeal in the middle somewhere, and not everyone is a full blown oatmeal eater. Some people may only sprinkle a little oatmeal in their other in their cream of rice, so to speak.
Well, but that being the case, and now we'll move from oatmeal back to the Muslims. Look, in that community, you have the ability for the clerics and the imams to stand up and say, okay, this has got to stop. You guys knock it off. The Quran does not say to kill everybody. It's not the correct interpretation. We are going to police ourselves and make sure that the message is loud and clear that you are not to do, that the jihad is not valid. Stop doing it. But they don't do that.
No, you're
they
right.
just sit
you're
there
right.
and don't say anything.
You're 100% right. They, especially in the countries that are the ones that are harboring all the terrorists.
Exactly, and funding them.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You know, how is it possible that Iran and Afghanistan are sponsoring terrorist groups in the name of Allah, but and taking our money and our support and feigning friendship with us? You know, knowing full well that they're bankrolling terrorist groups who would jump at the chance of coming here and killing as many of us as they possibly could.
Yeah. First of all, I don't even know why we fund any of these other countries. They got more money than we do. They got tons of oil, and we're funding them.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. That's why thank God Trump is in, because all of that is going to stop immediately.
Let's hope. All right, well, we're going to take, John, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're actually going to get to some bodybuilding talk because we're going to do some of the best of the years. We'll find out who the rookie of the year is, biggest surprise of the year, and a couple of other things. Plus, I want to talk a little bit about Johnny and Sid and I were just discussing how we wanted to get to 70,000 YouTube subscribers, John, before the end of 2016. We're at almost 68,000 now, so look, I know there's a lot of you guys out there who listen to this radio show and love it. You love the programming we do. If you don't subscribe already to the RxMuscle YouTube page, go on YouTube and subscribe for us because we want to hit 70,000. That is the goal. And by the Arnold, I'd like to get to 100,000. That's really my goal. But we got to get this. We got to go small steps. We don't want to jump too far. So 70,000 by the end of the year. That means we have about 5 or 6 days left. So guys, if you listen to the show, if you love what we do, help us out. Subscribe to the RxMuscle YouTube channel. Like all our videos. Watch the videos because I think you're going to find some great information there. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, the best of 2016.
A legendary name in hardcore supplementation. Iron Mag Labs. 100% original, patent pending andro compounds. The most effective, hardcore, groundbreaking bodybuilding supplements in the world. Iron Mag Labs. Revolutionizing hardcore supplementation for more than a decade. Visit ironmaglabs.com. ironmaglabs.com.
Hi, I'm Dave Palumbo, and I just had a protein shake made with Quest Nutrition's new salted caramel protein powder. And I can tell you this, it's on a whole new level. It's a total reinvention of the protein shake. The taste is incredible, and its creamy texture and richness make it taste like a real caramel milkshake. It's incredibly low carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 22 grams of protein in every serving. No soy, and it's gluten-free. Just add water, ice, a scoop of protein, and shake it up. It's that easy. I actually look forward to drinking this shake. And Quest Nutrition has got a total of 7 different flavors. They come in convenient single-serving packets so you can mix and match. Check out loveyourproteinpowder.com for more information on Quest protein powders and some delicious shake inspirations. Welcome back to Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo talking with John Romano on this blustery, what is the weather over there in South Carolina?
It's pretty nice out. It was a little cloudy today.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was like 75. It's about 60
it's nice
right now.
Good. Yeah, it's 84 over here, and I know New York wasn't too bad this Christmas weekend. They were in the 50s, so that's not too bad.
But Chicago, otherwise known as Chirac, was awfully cold yesterday. So
yeah, I'm not missing. I have completely lost my my awareness that there's a winter anyplace else because I am now living in summer all the time. So
well, here's what's going to happen to you, because this is what happened to me. When you travel, you're going to find that you're grossly underdressed for wherever you go.
I was grossly underdressed when I went to Italy, and it wasn't even that cold there yet.
Remember that Arnold Classic we were at, and we were like J.M. Mannion gave us a ride back from the club. It was like minus 70, and we had short sleeve shirts on.
Yeah, no, that was very cold. Yeah, I'm sure when I go up to New York January 28th for Bros vs. Pros, I'm gonna Johnny and I'll freeze out the tuxedos off.
Plus you get acclimatized very quickly. You get used to the hot weather, and then everybody still makes fun of me because I left New York originally when I was 17 years old, and I went straight to Florida from there, and then California, and then Mexico, and then back to California, and then then Florida, and so I've been in warm weather for the last 35 years of my life. So I get extremely sensitive to cold, and everybody makes fun of me. Like, what are you freezing? It's only 40 degrees. It's 40 degrees out. What are you freezing for? I go, because it's freaking 40 degrees.
Since I've been in Florida, I and living in the warm weather, I can't understand what the insanity or the brainwashing that I must have received that I would want to live in the cold. Like, I think when you're in New York and you're in cold areas, you don't realize that you actually have a choice that you could leave. Like, I just figure, well, this is the way it is. You got seasons, right? Fall, winter, summer. I didn't realize you could actually leave if you want to.
No, that's not it. It's because New Yorkers are tough. And you stick it out because you're a New Yorker. That's why. And
I never even thought about moving. That's the funny thing, though. Maybe I was just too lazy to.
Yeah, if you were a pussy, you would have. That's the bottom line.
I must have gotten
New Yorkers are tough, so they stick it out. They put up with the winter.
Well, now that I'm not living there, I'm very happy I'm not there. And I look at all the people who are freezing their asses off, and I'm like, man, are they dumb?
Did you sell all your houses?
No, I still have the house that you were living in. I'm trying to sell it. It's hard to sell a house when there's people living in there. I kicked the person out downstairs, but they're still upstairs. I still got some people living in.
But you sold that other house, the house you were living in? My house.
Yeah, the house I was living in, I sold.
Good for you.
Yeah, I did pretty good on it, so I can't complain.
Good. That was a nice house.
Yeah, no, the people who bought it, they loved it. It was, if that was the house, if you wanted a good view and you wanted that extra bedroom with the bathroom upstairs, and it was, they just were dying. And I guess the woman had a sister who was living who was going to live in the apartment downstairs, and she was going to babysit the kids. They loved the house.
It was very peaceful on the water there. It was very serene and very peaceful, and I enjoyed living there in the other house. That was nice.
And you know what? Everything was brand new from that storm. All my air conditioning units, my roof, my fences, everything. They got brand new house essentially.
Wow. They had a good deal.
And I didn't put a lot of wear and tear in my house because I was never really in the house. I was always at work.
Always traveling.
Yeah, traveling exactly. So anyway. So let's talk about the bodybuilding world a little bit. I made some categories. I don't want to go through all the top 10 lists, and I hate doing that. We do that every year. There were some categories I wanted to discuss because I think they are significant. First of all, I always like to pick a rookie of the year. Who's the guy who entered the pro ranks, who made an impact the first year out there? And you know what? Recently, there really hasn't been any. But this past year, Nathan D'Ascia, who won the UK championships last year, and we all were comparing him to Kevin Levrone because he looks a little like him.
Right.
He went out to Oxygen Gym there, and he joined the Camel Crew. and he put on a ridiculous amount of size. And he came in. I remember I think his pro debut was at the New York Pro because when he was in New York, he came down to our studios. We interviewed him. He got 7th place there, but it was really, we all thought it was a bad placing. That they really didn't give him what he deserved. But he came back and did a whole bunch of string of other shows. He wound up winning the Toronto Pro Show, qualifying for the Mr. Olympia contest, where he took 12th, which is pretty good for his first time out. And he actually ended the year. He jumped in another show. He won the Ferrigno Legacy Classic. So two pro wins, a 12th place at the Olympia. He was sixth at the Kuwait Pro, 7th at the New York Pro, and 2nd actually at the California Championship. So, I mean, that to me is a Rookie of the Year, I think, outing. 6 shows your first year, and to win 2, and not have them be right back to back. Have them be like spread out by a good 6 months. So
that's definitely an accomplishment.
Yeah. So I don't think anyone else even can fill those shoes because. Most guys nowadays, John, they do 1 show or 2 shows and they're done. It's like, oh my God, that was so difficult. I can't compete. Back in Flex Wheeler's day, they were doing like 9-10 shows a year, these guys.
Or more, yeah.
Milos was probably doing 15 shows a year.
Yep. Yeah, Kevin Levrone did a lot of shows. Yeah. Even, what was his name? Samuel, I can't think of Silvio Samuel. Remember him?
Is he still in jail?
I think he's still in jail, but he did like 17 shows one year.
He actually competed that year. The first year they had the 202. It was originally a 202 class. Oh, no, it was 210. Yeah. It was 210. It went from 210 to 202 up to 212. Where they got these numbers from, I have no idea. But Silvio, I remember, did the first 210 show. It was at the Dallas Europa Super Show. I don't know, you were there.
Yep.
And he won not only the Open, but he won the 210 also.
Yeah. Yep, he did. He was an incredible bodybuilder. Yeah. Too bad.
You were instrumental in finding him, actually.
I was, because Bleckman said,
he doesn't have any separation in his legs. Once if you don't have separation, you're never going to get it. I go, where did you get that from?
And then once he started winning shows, Bleckman was all over the bandwagon.
Yeah, I always supported him, Silvio.
I told him to do asphyxiation training.
You want to hear something funny? I swear to you. I said, Triple H, everyone knows that I do the diet for Triple H, WWE Superstar. I do with Stephanie McMahon, to his wife. And they send me, update pictures. And I got a set of update pictures last week from him. And I'm like, oh, man. I said, your legs really came up. Now, you got to remember, the Triple H has torn both his quads over the course of his career. So he has a lot of trouble putting size on his legs. And, he usually trains them very athletically. I said, your legs look really like you put 2 inches on them. He goes, yeah. He goes, I've been doing this new training. I said, what are you doing now? He goes, oh, it's asphyxiation training. They pump up they put this blood pressure cuff around your quad, and they pump it up and block and then he works with Joe DeFranco. So Joe DeFranco's a big functional trainer, and they make him pull a sled, and he's like, I'm not even doing heavy weight. I'm just inhibiting the blood flow, and they're growing. I said, fucking Bleckman was right. Asphyxiation training.
Is it asphyxiation or is it? I don't know. I don't think that's the right word.
I like that word better. It sounds more like someone's choking you to death.
Yeah, it sounds better. But tourniquet training or what was the other? There's another term for it.
I think it really just engorges the muscles with blood. But to be honest with you, that's why his legs look bigger. He probably took a picture right after doing
there was a study. This guy learned from, I guess, because they were. I should actually research this a little more before I say it, but it had to do with the guy's calves. That the way he was kneeling down all the time,
right.
Cut off the blood supply to his calves, and he noticed that his calves were growing. So that's where the impetus came from putting a tourniquet on.
Right.
But you'll have.
I told Evan Santapani you got to do asphyxiation training.
You ever tell you that? You ever hear that one?
Yes. But it pales in comparison to that time at dinner with Billy Smith sitting there. And Bleckman saying, now Billy Smith weighed about 320 at the time. American Gladiator, Thunder. Okay, and Bleckman, 135 pounds, saying,
You got to squeeze. You got like I do. You got to squeeze.
And it looked like he was, trying to, like he had constipation.
Because Billy didn't really have good legs. He was very tall. So Bleckman was trying to give him tips.
His legs were still bigger around than Bleckman's entire body, So,
whatever happened to Billy Smith?
He's crazy. I think he's here in North Carolina, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he married some woman that is an animal fanatic and rescues all these animals, all kinds of animals. Mm-hmm. And they're all on a farm, and they got 800 different animals that are being rescued. And I guess he's still trying to push his Intrafit program.
Oh, he's still doing that?
I think he is. I mean, it still exists. It's just so incredibly complicated. People call it intricate instead of intrafit.
Oh, really?
But, yeah, it works. I mean, but it's unduly, unnecessarily complicated. But yeah, I mean, he would have been better off continuing to do what he was doing. But he owes a friend of mine a bunch of money for gym equipment. So I don't know how he's doing, but we don't hear very much from him. So
no,
can't be that good. So too bad. He was a good gladiator, but that dinner will live in my mind forever.
What did Billy Smith say to Bleckman when Bleckman was like, because you can't be rude to the guy because he's taking you out to dinner. What did Billy say? Thanks a lot. I'm going to try it out.
Billy had no filter, so he didn't give a shit. So he said, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
No, you got to squeeze like I do. Like I do. You got to squeeze.
You must have been dying. You must have been biting your tongue.
Because I know Billy, and he was sitting there. I think he was there with his wife at the time, was Kathy Sasson, who was just absolutely beside herself, hysterical. But because Jimmy Quinn was under contract with Twin Lab at the same time, and him and Billy, he had Billy under contract at the same time too, and they were doing these insane workouts, with 6-10 plates on each side of all these moves, and there was really blood and guts, and Bleckman was just so enamored with these two guys because they were giant, huge, enormous, ripped guys, and Bleckman wanted to be there in the middle of it, and he'd go to the photo shoots wearing his tank top and flexing in the mirror. It was just so pathetic. It was just so bizarre.
But you got to squeeze like I do.
I would. Seeing him at the photo shoot, you sure he's flexing right? Trying to be like Joe Weider.
It took me years to figure this out, but Mrs. Elise Bleckman, who is what she's doing with him, I'll never know. She's a wonderful woman. I don't have a bad thing to say about her either. Great lady. She didn't like this stuff, and she would always be at these photo shoots, bored, off her gourd, reading a book, sitting on a leg extension machine, waiting for this, monotony to be over. And you would go to all the shows and sit next to him. And why are you here? You hate this stuff. Yeah. And it took me all of these years to figure it out. It wasn't to keep him from, going to strip clubs afterwards. It was to keep him from making a fool of himself and getting caught schmoing out over, some guy's glutes. She was there to contain him.
Oh,
you figure, here's a guy who's going to come to, a publisher of a bodybuilding magazine. He's got a lot of clout. He's going to go away to the Arnold Classic. All these figure girls, fitness girls, or whatever, are going to be climbing his leg, trying to get in the magazine. And, he could take advantage of that situation. One would think that would be the normal reason why, a wife would want to tag along, to stake her claim and make sure, her husband behaves. But it wasn't because of the girls, because if you looked, every time the girls were on stage, he'd be looking down writing, on the yellow pad, to see which guy he was going to shoot. When the guys were on stage, he was all at attention.
Yeah.
But, it was, so she was there to make sure he didn't, homo out too strong.
Unbelievable. But those were the days. Those were the days.
So you think this one cat is the breakout?
He's the rookie of the year. Yeah, Nathan the Ashes. Rookie.
Breakout new pro of the year. Now, what about Dallas McCarver? Because he's kind of like topping my favorite list.
Dallas is not a rookie this year. He has been in the pro ranks for a couple of years now. So this was just the first year pros we're talking about.
But he's still a youngin'. He's still up and coming.
Yeah, well, we have other categories you can probably try to plug him into if you want. All right. My second category is the best bodybuilder of the year. Who is the best bodybuilder of the year in your estimation?
Oh, Dexter Jackson.
Okay, over Phil. I have Phil Heath because Phil Heath won his 6th Olympia. But
Phil Heath will run a close second to that because I will give it to Phil that this year he pulled it together because he was on a downward spiral since 2014, and he'd been coming in worse and worse and worse every year, and somehow this year I don't know what happened, but boy, he pulled it together and came in. Pretty close to flawless as you can possibly get. So, in that regard, you'd have to say, he ranks up there. But Dexter Jackson, I'm sorry, man, that guy just is the most consistent. He's the winningest bodybuilder of all time.
Now he is,
hands down. Huh?
Yeah, now he is this year.
Now he is, yeah. So and he's got at least one of every title there is.
Yep. So.
I got to give it to him on that account. Plus, he's 46, 7, something like that.
47, I believe he said. He just turned.
So his longevity is, he's been there a long time. You got to remember, I saw him compete when he won the bantamweight at whatever national show he was at. So he's ostensibly put on close to, or if not more than 100 pounds of muscle over the course of his career. So I got to look at all of those factors involved: the consistency, the climb through the ranks, the overall amazingness of his physique, both genetically and what he's done to it, training wise. And you put all of that together with the amount of wins that he's got. I don't think any bodybuilder can claim having as many different titles. Forget the number of contests he's won, but the plethora of different titles that he's won all the Arnolds, the Olympia, what hasn't he won?
Yeah, Masters, Olympia, he won everything.
Yeah, so
I have Dexter pegged as the most significant impact of 2016, and I'll tell you why. Because he's not the best bodybuilder because he didn't beat Phil Heath. So Phil Heath is the best bodybuilder, but he's the most significant in the sense that he, like you said, is still relevant at 47 years old. He won big shows this year. He won the Arnold Europe, at 47 years of age. He finished 3rd at the Olympia. He set the record for the most wins in the history of a pro bodybuilder. So as far as impacts on 2016, if you had to think about, what was the most impactful bodybuilder, it wouldn't be Phil Heath because he only did one show, but it would have to be Dexter Jackson, because he just did too much this year. Even though Kai started the year off with 3 wins at those 3 Arnolds, I still believe Dexter Jackson's the most impactful bodybuilder of the year.
I'm going to give that title to Kevin Levrone.
I think Kevin Levrone fits the next category. Wait for that one.
Oh, all right. You got to give me the categories, and then
I know I should have given them to you. The next categories I'll give you is disappointment of the year, and that's where I put Kevin Levrone.
We talked about that on one of the other shows, and in a certain sense, he was a big disappointment because we had such high hopes for him, and based on what he, basically lied to us or didn't tell us,
right.
By virtue of omission. But I'm going to put him back in the impactful because, and I think this is important for a lot of guys out there who, have kind of fallen off the wagon and haven't been, real consistent with their training and their eating and have gradually kind of fallen apart. When you can take a 13-year hiatus off, now bear in mind he's a freak, he's a hyper responder and all of that, but when you see a guy come back like that, his upper body certainly came back pretty strong for almost a 50-year-old, or a 50 years old, 51.
52, we don't really know.
So, that gives guys, in our age group a lot of hope that, wow, I got out of shape and, I was great in my 30s and, it started to slip in my 40s. Now I'm 50 and I look like shit. And, there's no hope for me. I'm just going to keep, eating Cheetos on the couch and fall into oblivion. There's no reason for that. He personified the fact that, look, you can do it. You can get back on the program. You can get back to doing what you were doing, and your body will come back, at least somewhat so. At least to the degree where you can be impactful, taking your shirt off at the pool or, at the beach in the summer. So I think for the overall message that Kevin sent the aging members of our community, that, it's not too late, guys. You never really have to, fall off. And you still got Arnold and, guys like Louie and, who are, Bill Grant, who are still look great, at 50s and 60 years old, Robbie Robinson at 70. I don't think that resonates as much as a guy like Levrone, who basically took off that amount of time and then came back. And, his comeback, I think, was impactful to a lot of guys who look at themselves and think, I'm too far gone. Yeah. And then, you got Kevin who says, no, you're not too far gone. Look, this is what you can do. And I'm not going to give him a Disappointment of the Year award, for doing that. I mean, he was disappointing in the sense that he didn't perform to the degree that you and I predicted he would. And that was definitely a disappointment. But me personally, I'm not going to give him that title because I believe that his impact was such that, guys on our age group, my age group, he gave them a lot of hope, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think, I hate to give Sean Ray credit at all for anything, but I think he was right. He should have come back and been like a guest poser or something like that at the Olympia. I think that would have been, and then he could have used that as a possible, launching platform to then do the Arnold or something else or the Olympia the following year. He should have tested the waters first, especially
or the Masters or something.
Whatever the case may be, it would have been better because then no one would be judging him against anyone else. We would be like, wow, this guy looks pretty damn good. Yeah, I mean his legs can come up a little bit, but he could have even worn a costume and covered his legs for all we know. We could have just seen his calves, So yeah. I think that's why I felt it was a disappointment because he kind of bamboozled everyone, and you and I got sucked into the Levrone Kool-Aid. We thought that's it. We saw his upper body. We said his legs are definitely going to be as good as his upper body. This guy is going to be dangerous, and so while it was exciting to see him come back, it was a little bit of a disappointment when we did get to see him. But once again, all publicity is good publicity for the sport of bodybuilding. Who is your biggest surprise of 2016?
I think Kai Green. Kai Green basically eliminating himself forever from the Olympia.
I didn't even think about that. That's pretty big.
Yeah, to me that's surprising in the sense that the guy lived and breathed for that. Yeah. And to be the one who. I think rightfully an uncrowned Mr. Olympia for sure, and certainly a Mr. Olympia in the making. Yeah. Would have stuck it out and try to overcome whatever it was that was against him, but he instead read the writing on the wall, interpreted what was being told to him as what it meant for him, and decided, fuck this, I'm turning my back on it. I'm never competing in the Olympia again. Right. And that to me was very surprising because it really showed me that this is a guy with character enough to, put aside his lifelong ambition in favor of his principles. And you don't really see that very much these days. So I'm going to give him that.
Yeah, that is a pretty big story. I thought that William Bonac placing 5th at the Olympia and then winning that Prague show was probably the surprise. I don't think anyone could have ever predicted that William Bonac, who was a 212 guy a couple of years ago, would be, challenging the top 5 at the Mr. Olympia contest and then beating a lot of them in the European tour.
True.
To me, that was a huge surprise on the I guess you could say the competitive forefront. Whereas I would agree that Kai Green, certainly, I didn't think about that, saying, basically letting people know I'm not doing the Olympia ever again. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge statement he's making, and he's not saying I don't like the IFBB. He's an IFBB guy through and through. He just will never do the Olympia, and that's obviously a shot at the people who run the Olympia for whatever his gripe is with them, and that's for him to to determine. We've heard the stories, whatever what he felt he was unjustly dished out whatever he felt.
Let's just say they're not for us to repeat.
No, well, he didn't tell me. He told me off the record, so I don't want to repeat it. But it was business basically, and he felt that he was disrespected in business, and I could understand, where he's coming from. He brings a lot of business to the sport of bodybuilding, and certainly to the Olympia, a lot of excitement, and I guess I can see his point. But to the other side of the story, it's always been that way. The athlete has never been well represented at the Olympia, other than the fact that they're given the privilege to compete. And so it doesn't surprise me that no one's going to, extend an olive branch or make an exception for Kai Green, because they didn't make it for anyone, essentially.
Right.
So
Right.
It is what it is. If it's kind of like they consider the Olympia a privilege, and if you don't want to do it, or if you think that they're not being fair, then don't do it. They don't care, and that's
in this case, though, it was the proverbial cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah, because he
on the Olympia's
denied
part,
himself the Olympia.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's something he wanted. All right, well, that's going to do it. I'm not going to do any beat this thing to death. That's enough best of categories for 2000. I had a very good time. It was a great year, starting off with the Arnold, ending with San Marino. I was at the, I didn't cover any shows this year, John, but I was at the first and the last show of the year. Imagine that.
Well, that's good.
somehow worked out that way. I don't know, but.
Hopefully in 2017 I'll be accompanying you to some of these shows.
Yeah, I don't know. You might be going in place of me. I got news for you. I might have to. I'm very close to deciding to get a shoulder replacement.
Oh my God!
At least doing the left shoulder first, and then obviously the right shoulder would follow maybe a year or so later. But they're pretty. The left shoulder is very bad now, and it's starting to inhibit my ability to sleep at night because it hurts when I lay on it and move around, and it's just not. It is. It looks normal, and I could, I'm still doing everything I normally do. It just hurts. I'm sick of it hurting. And the funny thing is, this what the doctor explains to me, it's a brutal operation, first of all. They got to saw off the head of your humerus.
Yep.
They put they drive a spike into your humerus, and you have a fake head, a metal head, and then they do the cup part of it. I guess the catches they got to,
the socket.
The socket, yeah. They resurface that and they put some stuff on there, and
they
got to cut through your rotator cuff. It's like what you're basically doing to your house. That's what they do to my shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I'm in a sling for 6 weeks, and I can't really do very much. So it's I hate turning over control of my life, which I've done many times with my quad. Now I not being able to use my hands is going to drive me crazy.
Yeah. I need something replaced. I just don't know what it is. I got to figure it out first.
Really?
My hands fall asleep when I'm sleeping at night.
Right.
To the degree the numbness is so bad, it wakes me up. My hands are tingling so bad, and I don't. When I sit up, it's fine. When I'm laying down is when it.
Well, you're leaning against a nerve probably in your shoulder somewhere.
I think it's in my neck, to be honest with you.
Probably is. You see what happens when you get older? Your joints just do wacky things. They have a mind of their own. So.
Yep.
I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm planning on doing the Arnold, assuming we have a sponsor. We'll be out there covering the Arnold because we love that show, and that's the big. The Arnold and the Olympia are the two shows I really love to go to. I still enjoy those. Some of the other shows are a little too long. I like the New York Pro because it's kind of short too, and they got good talent. But some of the other shows are just too long. The San Marino show was great because it wasn't drawn out, and we were treated very well, and it was that was cool.
And the food was good.
But the shows that have 400 divisions in them with 8,000 people in each division, I can't go to those shows.
I can't take those anymore.
Yeah. I went to the National. I only stayed one day, and I critiqued every athlete there. So I did that because I know the athletes like it and they respect it. And they want a real critique from someone. But it's tough. It's a brutal show. It's 1,000 people in that show.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But hey, it's good. It means the sport's growing.
It is, but the promoters need to learn to cut it up a little better. I mean,
aside from putting it on a separate weekend, what do you do?
Well, I think you do need to put it on. I think you need to separate it. You need to separate. Or at least have another day. Have it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that. It's just to manage that many people in a day or 2 days. It's just too much. Yeah. You count. You got 1,000 competitors plus the crossovers. You're talking about 1,200, 1,500 instances of people walking out on stage. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And
It takes forever.
It's the audience that suffers. The audience suffers because you got to wait through this shit. And if you have one person in the women's physique and another one in men's 212, you may end up having 16 hours between both classes.
I didn't even I didn't even watch figure and bikini at the nationals. I just critiqued the people who pose. I did the bodybuilding, men's. I did the women's physique, men's classic, and what else did I do, Johnny? The men's open. I think that was it. I didn't even do women's bodybuilding because it was the next day with bikini, and I didn't want to go. So,
but you know what? At least they should. I think the promoters need to understand that you don't need to force the audience to sit through the entire show.
Here's what you do. I got an idea. You tell me if I'm right.
They need to schedule. They need to, or at least on your
That's
iPhone.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Very good.
You get an app for the show, and it gives you live updates when what class is on deck, so that you can look at your app and you get an alert and say, okay, women's physique division is on deck. That means the class before them is finishing up, and you got about 15 minutes before the first competitor hits the stage.
Right.
Now that gives you time to get back to the venue, leave the bathroom, do whatever you're doing, and that service is not only the people who are there to support the athlete, but it also helps the people there who are prepping the athlete.
That's a great idea, John, because then you could just subscribe on the app. You put your email or your cell phone number in there, and then it just automatically will send you a text message. I think it's brilliant. Exactly. The problem is it's not going to help us, the press, but I guess it would, because I can I'll just cover what I want. But maybe they should put all the men's bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding, classic physique, women's physique, all on the same day. And then put all the other crap on the next day. All the bikini, figure, men's physique, and who else did I forget? That's it. Those three classes. What?
Yeah. No, you're right. That's exact. But they need to structure it better. They need to break out of them. I think the original idea was keep the audience in the seat as long as possible, because they want it gives the vendors a chance to get more people to go look at their booths. But that's not fair. It's not fair to capture people and hold them hostage, for 17 hours because you want to pay lip service to the vendors. It's not right.
The vendors don't want to even be at the booth. They're leaving the booth before the show's even over. They can't stay there all day.
So now it's grown to the point where, okay, give us a break. I am not coming to your show I don't care what I pay for the ticket. I'm not coming to your show to sit through every single solitary class starting at 9 o'clock in the morning and ending at 2 o'clock in the morning.
You're right.
That's not why I'm coming.
A schedule is good. Schedule's good with an app. You're right. I think it's ingenious. And then they just text you. Your app goes off. All right, you got 15 minutes. Women's physique's going to start. And even if they're early, they don't start it until they hit the 1 o'clock hour, whatever the hour they say.
Exactly.
This way, no one misses anything. Great idea. Speaking of apps, John, I want to just remind everyone again about the Dave Palumbo Experience app that I have out there for $29 a month. You get access to all the articles I've written, all the videos I've put out in one place. There's weekly workouts I put up there. I answer all questions. I do a specific private Dave Palumbo Q&A, video Q&A on the app every week. We put up it's at least 5 or 6, 7 questions I answer in depth. The people who are app members can submit their questions. It's kind of like signing up for my coaching without actually having me coach you, but you'll get tons of information. I have a partner. He puts new stuff up almost every single day on that app, and I'm telling you, people are loving it. You got to check it out. It's a great value. A lot of people back in the day when they had websites were doing, membership sections of the site. They'd put up pictures that no one else could see. I'm like, forget the pictures. People want information. So I put together a way for people to get all the information they want in one spot. Also, I want to just mention that I have the Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru course coming up in San Diego, California on Saturday, June 14th. 2016. That's going to be at Hardcore Fitness in San Diego. Derek Farnsworth is sponsoring that event. He's set up the whole thing for me down there. It's going to be a terrific class. It's 10 hours long. We'll take some lunch breaks and maybe get some dinner all together. We spend the whole day together basically, and I go over nutrition, supplementation, performance-enhancing drugs, getting people ready for contests, off-season, men, women, anabolic steroids, growth hormone, all the peptide hormones, insulin, IGF-1. I go over everything. Detoxification, site injection. Plus, I give you an 85-page manual with all my notes and all my protocols in there. It's a terrific, terrific value. You can sign up at DavePalumbo.com. If 2 people sign up together, you save $100. So go now and sign up. I'm telling you, because we are running out of spots. I think we're down to 5 spots left, and they've been filling up fast. I guess a lot of people have bought gifts, like Christmas gifts for their loved ones to the course. So we got a lot of signups over the Christmas. And I guess if you guys got any Christmas money, you might want to go sign up right now, because once again, this is going to be probably the only course I give this year out on the West Coast. Maybe, who knows if I ever go back out there. But the more kids I start having, the less travel I do. So, guys, it's going to be a great one down there at Hardcore Fitness in San Diego, California. All the information's on DavePalumbo.com. John Romano will be holding How to Make Your Own Anabolic Steroids down in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico on March 25th. The sign-up is very cheap. Now, John, you should do that. You should hold like how I used to have the cooking workshops. You should have a How to Make Your Own Anabolic Steroid workshop down there.
Well, I've been talking to a couple of your buddies that have been on your show a few times, and there may be something like that in the works. Who knows?
But think about it. No, seriously, I said it jokingly, but I'm really not joking. People come down there for the weekend, okay? Mm-hmm. They spend Friday and Saturday with you during the day, and you teach them how to make their own anabolic steroids. You show them the whole process, what the right equipment to use is. Mm-hmm. You break it down mechanistically. You make a little workbook you work up. You charge them like $800, okay, which is very reasonable. Most people who would love to find out this information, how to do things right. You recommend a hotel. You got your gym they could train in.
Yep.
They come down here. You have 2 sessions, 4 hours on Friday or Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday, and then they go home. You call it the John Romano Steroid Brewing 101 course.
Steroid Brewing 101. Yeah, well, all you guys listening out there, if you got any interest in that, let me know. If I feel like there's enough interest, I'll put it together, because
it's a no-brainer.
I could give you that.
And it's legal. It's legal down there.
Yeah, it's legal. And plus, I give you the source for your raws. I give you the source for all your equipment. I tell you what equipment you need, how to use it, how to clean it, how to get it ready, how to calibrate it. What percentages of other, ancillary chemicals you got to put in, how to keep your mixture from crashing, how to do everything, basically. So,
I think it's ingenious. You just got to sit down and write it. You probably have notes about how to do it anyway. So
sure, yeah. And plus, I've got years of sourcing already done. I've got calculators for the the ingredients that you just plug the numbers in, and
that's
it tells
what you need exactly.
And so it's a one-stop shop. You could just spend a day with me, and it'll save you a year's worth of searching for shit.
Plus, people would love to do it, because Boston Lloyd would probably be the first guy to sign up. Matter of fact, you should give him a freebie and just tell him, if you bring 10 guys, you come for free. He'll probably bring 20 guys with him.
Boston can come for free anytime.
All right, well, John, I hope you have a great New Year's. You planning on doing anything special, or are you just chilling out with the family?
Just chilling. We're in the new. I'm just enjoying the new house.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my new house too. Believe me.
Yeah. So you need a crowbar to get me out of here.
I feel the same way. Believe me. And
yeah.
You don't have to tell me twice. When you're in a new place and it's nice and peaceful, it's like you don't even want to leave the house.
No, you don't want to. Plus, when you're old like us, where the hell are we going to go?
Oh man, yeah, isn't it true? Isn't it true? How old are you now, John?
56.
Oh my God! Wow. I'll be 50 before you're 60, so that's at least comforting for you.
That is comforting.
All right, that's going to take us to the end. It's funny because 2016 went so fast that I don't even know how to end it. It's just like, all right, look, 2017 will be the next show. It feels like it just whisked by without us even watching. And I had a lot happen in 2016. I had a baby. We moved. I mean, I hit a lot of shows. You know, there was a lot that happened in 2016.
Yeah.
I had my quad redone for the third time. I mean, I did a lot of crazy stuff in 2016, and it still feels like it went fast. So imagine,
it went fast.
hopefully, 2017 will slow down a little bit because.
Hopefully.
You know, it's funny when you're a kid, you can't wait for time to fly. Now I'm like, please slow down a little bit. I can't. I just don't want to be 50 yet. I'm not ready for it.
Yep.
Only
I hear you.
Anyway.
Same with 60.
Yeah. Well, wish Valerie and your son a happy New Year's, and we'll see all you guys back in 2017. For now, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, as we always do, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
The truth hurts.
see you in 2017.